blessed love and peace. We got another public service announcement. I'm gonna do this beginning in English. I done broke the protocol at the bibliothèque in parler English here. So I'm gonna do the beginning part. Maybe we'll do the beginning part in English just to finish this up because I done already started. And then continue on whatever else is left for the en français. So here it is. Public service announcement. Another public service announcement. And this is specifically for woke kinfolk. Woke folk. And particularly Sistren. Because Sistren seem to be further invested and further needful in this practice. So, and we're not on some hate Sistren trope in recent days, weeks, or whatever, but it's recognizing where the power is and where the challenges predominantly are, because men are considerably impotentized within the Republic and within conventional society at the moment. So, this is the public service announcement. This is in regards to the whole land acknowledgement joints, the whole land acknowledgement tropes, protocols, or whatever else. It sounds like the equivalency. It sounds like this. This is an equivalency. It sounds like this. It's like, I'm going to give an example of what it sounds like. I am Abuna Zuriji. I'm currently situated in a house, and I would like to acknowledge that at this very moment in this house, in another room in this house, there is a young 16-year-old woman being raped at this moment. And so I would like to take the moment to pause and just honor her and say her name. Her name is blank, and she's being raped right now. So I just want to take a moment to honor her. And also there is a young 12-year-old boy in the basement who is being severely tortured at this moment. So also his name is blank, and I'd like to take a moment just to honor and provide acknowledgement for him at this moment. That's what the land acknowledgements sound like. And that's severe. That's exactly it. Because that's exactly what's going on, and that's exactly what's being ignored within the land acknowledgements. It's empty. It's meaningless. And that's what it used to sound like when it was started just a few years ago or whatever. Now what it sounds like is this. My name is Abuna Zuriji, and I am situated in a house at this very moment. And we're doing this again. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'd like to acknowledge that there are three young women, 16-year-olds in adjacent rooms. The names. The names are again. Gotta think about the names now. The names are blank and blank and blank. And then there are 5 boys in the basement and other places in this house. Their names are blank and blank and blank. And so we'd like to just pause right now and just acknowledge that these people are here, and just honor these people at this moment, who are being raped and tortured in this house at this moment. So, okay. Now can we get on? Are we ready to start our program now? Okay, thanks. That's what it sounds like now. So, and then what's the whole like, oh, well, before I get into that, the whole pronouns thing, the he, she, it, they, them, whatever, it is narcissistic imperialist bullshit. love and peace to you. Seriously, beautiful, holy beings. It's narcissistic and it's imperialist. It's even further self-involved than me talking to this thing right now, because it's presuming and imposing a religiosity, ideology, and selfishness and a narcissism on others. I am Blue Cloud Star 7 of the Star 7 beings, and this is how I shall be called by you. And you are so sure you don't know. You're so sure you don't know. That's what's challenging. And that's what's our fault. So, that's a public service announcement. And it said with love and peace. I keep saying love and peace, and I keep saying tough shit. I keep walking, trotting diligently, stumbling and balancing the while. So that's that. The other thing also, what I was about to say before is, what's this whole, I'm wearing this and my hair is this? It sounds like it does actually, to be honest, it does sound like pornography. It sounds like ASMR, seduction type stuff. And I just see that recently, and to be honest, I'm responding to again a recent podcast joint that mixed kinfolk and sistren do. I just watched the beginning of it and have to go through the beginning 5 minutes of this trope before getting into the substance, and it's all empty PC BS. And the thing is, like, to criticize women, we have to be gentle, and additionally, but when women presume positions of authority and power and want to flex that, okay, here it is, blah that, Signora Presidente, and otherwise. That's no predictions or predictions, it's just commentary. So, yeah, I mean, it's either be a woman or be ready. What up? And that's respect. That's peace. That's life. That's the jungle. That's the nasty of civilization. And that's the double standard. That shall not be. What that mean? Figure it out. So anyway, that's that. Wouldn't you rather like to have it in Francais, where it was incomprehensible? That's much of what we got to share at this moment. I may seem further callous, further candid, further concise. It is what it is. All things to praise the Most High. Do I lighten it up? Do I lighten it up with some poetry? Did I share poetry before? I think I did. I shared this joint. Okay. Bleedy blah, bleedy blah, bleedy blah. How can I be so flippant after saying things that are just so nasty? and challenging. And additionally, it might seem psychotic, like detached. What's the term when somebody is psychopath, or um, there's another term, like when somebody is so emotionally detached from doing things, they have this air of being pleasant and congenial, exactly whilst committing atrocities. Greetings, U.S. citizen, and the gaslighting of America. That's the challenge, because in order to exist, or in order to negotiate and navigate, particularly through the conditions of the United States, this is the nature. So, typically, historically, there are people who are designated for different roles, to either be the head knocker and then to be the diplomat or otherwise. But further and further, the lines are blurring, particularly amidst the gendering and the pronouning. So, anyways, how do I excuse this like flippant notion of articulation of atrocities, or seemingly flippant? One of the solutions in life, amidst the ambitions, amidst the confusion, the uncertainties, and additionally, is to take very little, is to utilize very little, and to be very mindful and very purposeful with whatever we do take and utilize in this life. To have very strong reason and reasons for whatever we take and whatever we utilize, and be able to articulate that, explain it, share it. When we take all these different types of stuff, then the bullshit that we do and all the things that we commit in this life, do, say, and think, are less excusable, are less tolerable, are less legitimate. When we walk with humility, when we walk with humbleness, particularly within our livelihood, how we sustain ourselves, our nice clothing and everything else like that. When we walk a humble walk, it's not an invincibility. It's not an excuse to do anything, but it provides further substance and foundation and grounding and rootedness and constancy and credibility. Why is he saying that? Oh, because he wants to get money. He wants to get this. He wants to do that. But if he's not getting money, and if he doesn't want that, then why is he doing that? Aha, interesting. It must be because there's a further reason. So again, it's not an excuse, and it doesn't mean like anybody who's poor just is completely legit or otherwise. But that's one of the ways of tempering the deceit, duplicity, deception, falsities, gaslight. How about we talk about gaslight? Before though, I was gonna share a poem. Where did I multitask? So there's something further about the perception of psychopath or psychotic, or just being emotionally detached. It's indifference. It's a spiritual indifference, and usually the spiritual indifference, like a heightened spiritual indifference, is practiced by celibate practitioners. So when people recognize that, they say, okay, they're not having sex, they're not worrying about procreation, so there's no ulterior long-term multi-generational motivation. So there's a further round of immediate trust. When somebody is procreating, is a householder, then there is that, okay, he's not doing it for himself, but he's doing it for his children or otherwise. And so there's further suspicions, and additionally, and there's legitimacy within those suspicions. When there's a history and a track record of discipline and humbleness and modesty, then there's further credibility and trustworthiness. Oftentimes, for many, it's a first generational type of thing. It's kind of like being an immigrant into a spiritual path. Very few people are actually born into a community and into a discipline that is very austere and very thorough. Um, Oftentimes people are either first or second generation immigrants into a spiritual path, and so there's a lot of learning necessary. Anyways, so point being about being flippant or being seeming to be flippant and indifferent. Like, how can he be genuinely how can he say these things 1 second and literally like the next second or even the same second like be jokey or this and that? Isn't that disrespectful to the people that he's trying to advocate for, and talking about these atrocities, just talking about rape and everything else like that? That's not funny business. So first of all, again, it's a spiritual. It's not an excuse, and I try not to do that. But at the same time, I'm explaining how I am that way, how I do that, and just explain some of the nature of that. One is spiritual path and spiritual awakening, and in that spiritual path of equanimity is just understanding everything is everything. There's a purpose for everything that happens. The beautiful atrocities, the beautiful atrocities. I'm not going to say that because that's minimalizing, or it's too diminutive. It's too minimizing like the actual pains that people are experiencing. But ultimately, it's going beyond pain and pleasure itself. Not being out here to get pleasure, and not being out here to avoid pain. Just out here to provide well-being, and we can. That's a whole other conversation about how the nuances between that. But that's the point. So to be a true empath, it does recognize that even if one is in a certain heightened spiritual awakening or whatever, that requires a mindfulness that others abstain from being in that, and so having empathy. Because even though one person, like a doctor dealing with like a nasty cut bone, I probably would have less. Well, I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to wish that. But like a doctor, many people might react to an injury, a broken bone or a broken limb or something like that, or blood artery pulsating. People repulse. A doctor is just nonchalant, trained, deal with it. Boom, don't. Some doctors, I've seen doctors, I remember in law school, some of my kinfolk like to watch the medical channel and watch like live surgeries. That's a lawyer thing, and there's reasons for that. But like we see medical shows or whatever, and that's TV playing doctors on TV. But like it becomes so like, and this is a legitimate concern. It becomes so routine dealing with atrocities that people make jokes. And additionally, I've had that experience done to myself. People making jokes whilst committing atrocities to me. So that's the second thing. So first, it's spiritual path, spiritual awakening, recognizing equanimity, not being out here for pleasure and not being out here to avoid pain, but being out here for a purpose. So that's one thing. That's one thing that explains, or one way of explaining it, not excusing any undue lack of empathy, but one thing that explains it. So it's equanimity. Just being factual, honest, truthful, and humor is a light way of communication and strengthening people to receive heavenly teaching and heavenly knowledge. So, and I just try to be natural, and just without thinking too much. To be honest, just to be honest, beyond thought. And humor is like a little bit above language. So like song is above language. You can feel the energy of songs without knowing what's being said, particularly, specifically. So that's humor is like that too. And so sharing humor is like being about beyond the language. And anyway, so there's that. But when we're talking about atrocities, and additionally, how can I go from one to the other? Because this is life. One day, 1 minute I'm here. The next minute, somebody's at the window. Somebody's at the door. I deal on a regular basis. One day I'm walking, talking to a child in the park, and 2 seconds later I'm crossing the crosswalk and somebody's threatening my life, specifically directly. So we deal with the extremes, the immediate extremes, and so that's part of it. Yesterday, I'm walking home and there's a suspicious activity, whatever, and I have to stop and look for it or look at it for a while, and then after a while, like continue on, and then bounce the football, and it goes off a little bit, and so then I go I'll run off after catching the football. So wait, hold up, I'm pausing 1 second, trying to check out some suspicious activity that might be life threatening or otherwise, and then the next second I'm like playing with a football. This is the nature of the life here. So that's one of the spiritual and dealing with the actual. The second one is this. There's an increasing amount of license to speak about things, particularly with a certain amount of lightness or lightheartedness, and not necessarily making light of it. Always do respect, and if there's a lack of respect, then recognize that. But when one goes through it oneself, when one has experienced that, when one has been raped, when one has been tortured, and additionally, then it's not the land acknowledgement trope. It's I'm that dude. I'm that one. So I've been raped. I've been tortured. It doesn't give me license to say whatever and say anything about anybody else, but it does provide further credibility of like, oh, I know what that is. So, those are some of the things. I guess now I can continue on. So, poem said, humor again. Oh, got a little heavy. Got a little bit real. Got a little bit TMI. TMI indeed. Dibby dibby da bob biddy bob 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 biddy 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 bong 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 bong. I'm trying to find like a nice light. To be honest, if you want prose, you can check out the weekly consideration that shares the weekly weather sky watching report. Okay, I'll do this one. All right, when I gotta bounce, I'm supposed to eat and bounce. Eat and bounce. Yeah, that might be a little too intense for the moment. We too intense. Like Abraham Avinu and Sarah Imenu. Too intense. So I'm gonna have to go through these notes and just read it as it is, because that's what the form it's in at this moment. Living here at the gates, sparrows are my watchdogs. You smile, say I'm tripping, and I say what you own. Blue jays check in sometimes, stoically. You alright? You may call me the bird brain. Act like you knows all I'm saying. Wrestling demons daily. PMA is a must. Birds are out of people's reach. Within a cipher. Trust. At the end of day, them say, Dr. Doolittle, yes. Every day, I say, you want your doctor doing a little less. Birds and I, we eat the same. Rice and breads and seeds. And hugging with all our wings. Accepting only needs. Sometimes the hawks arrive. Crows. Flying squirrels too, living here at the gates. Who is visiting you? Plata, kada, pa, pa. How you spell that? Plata, ka, pa, pa. All thanks and praise to the Most High, Elohim. All thanks and praise to the Most High, Elohim. Now either the sparrows done heard me singing, or they smell the ricey. They say both. Three young lassies. Three little birds that's by my window, singing sweet songs, a melody pure and true. This is our message to you. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Elohim Elohim. Saying don't worry about the thing, 'cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Indeed. Interesting. Need to wash the windows so I don't have to walk up too much. That's what happens when we get the splatter from the bird feed. Anyways, that's going to be it for today, for the moment at least. Again, all thanks and praise to the Most High Elohim. Blessed love and peace in Rastafari.